There are places you walk into and instantly feel like you shouldn't be there, like the air itself is warning you to leave. This is the story of a room that didn't exist, at least not officially. Daniel had just moved into his new apartment. It was surprisingly cheap for a place in the middle of the city. His friends joked that it was probably haunted, but Daniel didn't believe in ghosts. The apartment was small but clean, with one bedroom, one bathroom, a kitchen, and a long, narrow hallway that led to what looked like a blank wall. The first night was completely normal, but on the second night, something strange happened. At exactly 2:17 a.m., Daniel woke up to a faint knocking sound. Tap, tap, tap. He sat up, listening carefully. The sound wasn't coming from the front door. It was coming from the hallway. Daniel grabbed his phone and slowly stepped out of his room. The hallway light flickered as he turned it on, and suddenly the knocking stopped. At the end of the hallway, there was still just a wall, or at least that's what it seemed. The next morning, Daniel decided to take a closer look. As he ran his fingers across the wall, he noticed faint lines, like the outline of a door that had been painted over. The surface felt unusually cold. Later that day, he asked the landlord about it. For a brief moment, the landlord froze, then forced a smile and said there was no room there, just a wall. When Daniel insisted that it looked like a door, the landlord repeated himself more firmly. "It's a wall." That was the end of the conversation, but something didn't feel right. That night, the knocking returned, louder than before. Bang, bang, bang. Daniel rushed into the hallway. This time, the wall was different. The faint outline had become a clearly visible door, and it was moving slightly, as if something on the other side was trying to get out. Daniel hesitated, then whispered, "Hello?" The knocking stopped immediately. A few seconds later, a weak voice came from behind the door. "Help me." Daniel's heart started racing. Every instinct told him to walk away, to ignore it, to call someone, but curiosity got the better of him. Slowly, he pushed against the door. At first, nothing happened. Then, with a long creaking sound, it opened. Inside was a small, dark room with no windows and no furniture. In the center of the room, there was a single chair, and sitting on that chair was a man. The man looked unnatural. His skin was pale, and his eyes were wide open, staring without blinking. Daniel swallowed nervously and asked, "How long have you been here?" The man slowly turned his head toward him and replied in a quiet voice, "I never left." A chill ran down Daniel's spine. "What do you mean?" he asked. The man gave a faint smile and said, "I used to live here, just like you." Suddenly, the hallway light began to flicker violently. Before Daniel could react, the door slammed shut behind him. He rushed back and tried to open it, but it wouldn't move. He was trapped. The man slowly stood up from the chair and took a step closer. "You shouldn't have opened it," he said calmly. Daniel's breathing became heavy. "What is this place?" he asked in panic. The man looked directly into his eyes and replied, "It's where they put us when we find out." The next morning, the landlord unlocked the apartment. Everything looked completely normal. The rooms were clean, the hallway was quiet, and at the end of it, there was nothing but a blank wall. Daniel was gone. And if you listen closely, late at night, you might still hear it. Tap, tap, tap.